She loves the fresh snow. Right, Maya? You love the snow? So in Maine, because it's so cold and snowy for so much of the year, you'll have to get outside no matter what, or else you'll go crazy. Like this season, this time of year, because it's so quiet. I think the snow dampens all the other sounds. So it's really nice. You can get really in touch with yourself, and it's really relaxing and meditative. And one of the things about the places that are known for really intense winters that I don't think people talk about that much are that you actually have more sunny days in the winter, because after a snowfall, like the next day, it's often sunny. It might be colder, but it's sunnier. I think one of the harder places to live in the winter is closer to New York City, like New Jersey, Connecticut, because it's often very gray and doesn't snow as much as it does up in Maine or Canada or Vermont. So I think that's kind of like an aspect of winter that people don't always realize. So in terms of living on the island in the winter, but working in Portland, usually the earliest boats are like 5:15 or 6:15 in the morning. So you can take that boat into town, and then a lot of people will take the 5:35 p.m. or 7:15 p.m. ferry to come back. Depending on if you have a car on the island or not, that kind of dictates how you get to the boat. So for us, we live like 1.2 miles from the ferry, and we don't have our car on the island because we need it in town for work. So what we do is we walk to the boat or bicycle to the boat, depending on how the roads are. There's a lot of slush or it's really icy, it's better to walk than to take your bike. I guess you could always cross country ski there if you needed to after a snowstorm. So that's how I get to the boat. And then I take the boat. It's a really nice time to drink your morning coffee, kind of wake up. It's cozy. And then you get to town, walk to wherever you're working. In my case, I'm doing medical school, like clinical rotations in Portland. One of the tricky things about having a car in town is that sometimes there are snow bans. Like if it snows a lot and the plow needs to clean the roads, you can't park on the city streets in certain areas because they need to pass the snow plow there overnight, like between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. or something like that. So for example, today it snowed, but the snow stopped around like 1 p.m. So the roads will be fine by tonight. So I don't think there's a snow ban. But if the snow kept going all throughout the night, there would probably be a snow ban. And at that point, you have to go in and get your car and move it, either to a garage for the night or bring it back to the island. It costs about $30 to bring your car over to the island in the winter. In the summer, it's like $85, something like that. So sometimes it's better to just bring it to the island, and you can take advantage of that to go to the grocery store and get like a lot of oat milk or something like that, like heavy things that you wouldn't want to carry on your bike or walking. In my case, I also like to use those days to get more clay from the pottery store because that's really heavy. So if you leave your car in Portland during a snow ban and they have to plow, what they'll do is they'll tow your car, and then you have to pay. So it's like a total of $200 or something to pay for getting your car back. So it's a huge headache and very expensive. So you never really want to risk that. I'm not exactly sure how much the population multiplies between the summer and the winter, but there's a substantially larger amount of people that live on the island in the summer compared to the winter. You might ask why I'm walking in the snow instead of in the road. It's because of Maya, our puppy. Because the salt on the road that makes it not icy really burns, I think, dogs' feet, especially if they chew their paws a lot, like her. They're kind of raw, and I think the all the chemicals and salt on the road really kind of burn her feet. It's probably not good for her to be absorbing that into her body either. So I try to walk on the corners with her. Plus, she loves to go through the deepest snow possible. Come on, let's go. But we live on the kind of sheltered side of the island, not the side that's facing out towards the Atlantic, which is what we're walking towards now. And this side gets a lot more damage from the storms because it's all the wind that has time to build up force over the Atlantic, and then it just hits Peaks Island, where the other side is sheltered. So our house, we're pretty lucky. We don't have much damage usually ever. But a lot of houses are on an incline, so there's a lot of runoff and water that will kind of continually slide down the hill, which causes a lot of erosion over the years. So like when I was younger, the incline from the houses down to the beach was a lot more dramatic than it is now. It's kind of with the force of the ocean hitting against the beach over the course of 30 years since I've been coming here, then it's just slowly over time become more shallow. I think especially in the winter, there's so few people on the island that everybody knows each other and is kind of willing to help each other out. So I think there's a lot of sense of community here. With the storm recently, I had all the little old ladies on the island texting me that live near us, asking for me to go walk around their house, see if everything is still intact, see if there's any damage. I think the technical name is Davies Cove Sanctuary. So one of the names of like a really strong winter storm in New England that comes off the ocean is a nor'easter. So that's like a snowstorm that comes from the ocean, and it's really like it involves a lot of wind and snow, and yeah, it's like the most intense winter storm around here. So we call those a nor'easter. A blizzard is like a heavy winter storm, but that can be anywhere. It doesn't just have to be near the ocean. Let's see. Snowflake is like one little tiny bit of snow that if you look at it under like a microscope, it makes like the pretty formation of like lace. Like it looks like a piece of lace. It's called a snowflake.